SRIRAM's IAS, serving the nation since 1985. Ab offline ho ya online, we are the lifeline.
Hello students, welcome to SRIRAM's IAS. We are starting this concept class for Polity, which will help you in your upcoming prelims examination of 2025. Now, these concept classes are divided into several classes and we are going to pick up one concept. There can be multiple concepts within a bigger concept. So, the topic for today is preamble, and we all know there are many concepts within the text of preamble such as sovereignty, secularism, socialism, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. We are going to see each of them and what do they mean. Several times in prelims examination, questions are asked on these important terminologies. So let's begin. This is concept class. I am Mayank Bharadwaj and I'll be taking this concept class for Polity. Let's start our video. Okay. We the people of India, we know that it is the people of India who are sovereign in our country. Okay. So this is the text and the starting of the text. We the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign socialist democratic republic. Introduction of the preamble. So what is this preamble? If you know, everybody says this is the identity card of the constitution, which generally tells about what is the nature of the state. It also tells about the ideals, aspirations of the state, means what the state is trying to achieve for the people. Along with it, it also tells about the constituent assembly which was constituted once and it has beautifully drafted this constitution and was adopted on 26th of November 1949. So in a way, preamble has something which tells about the past, tells about the present. In present, if you see the nature of the state, India is a sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. This tells about the past, present of India, and also tells about the future, that in future what aspirations or ideals we are trying to achieve through legislation. Preamble also helps in the interpretation of the constitution, that if there is some problem faced by judiciary in interpreting the constitution, they can take help of the preamble. And you know, preamble acts as a guiding light in these interpretation. Also, when the legislature is drafting a bill or making some provision related to the constitution or trying to bring an amendment, there also preamble can be used as an interpretative tool. So let's see what's written in the slide. Preamble serves as the introduction. We all know it is the introduction. So many times it has been said. It sets out the objective of the legislation, that if a legislation is made, you need to ensure that liberty, fraternity, all these important ideals which are there, justice is ensured. No legislation must curtail justice, liberty, equality. It acts as a key to understanding the policy and legislative intent. The similar thing, you know, that whenever an act is made or a provision in the constitution is added, what is the intent of adding it? What is the basis? What is the source from which that particular change is coming? For example, emergency provisions are added in the constitution. Now, what is the intent of adding emergency provisions? So you must understand that whenever some aggression is there, whenever a warlike situation is there, whenever there is an armed rebellion, the country needs to be united. The country needs to be in the hand where people and the property can be protected. Then only those ideals can be achieved. The ideals are always achieved in the peaceful times. So at the time of war, at the time of disturbances, the government needs absolute power in order to contain that problem. Once that problem is finished, then peacefully country can develop. No country who is in chaos can develop. It is always a peaceful country, internally through the boundaries, externally, which can develop its people and its property. So it is very important in order to understand that why several provisions are there in the constitution, and in order to understand that You need to understand the intent, and that intent is reflected in preamble. We are a multi-party system. Why this provision of multi-party system is there? So that more and more people can participate in government formation, and at the same time people have a diverse choice given the diversity of India. Similarly, if you see, why is there an election commission? For the free and fair election to be conducted. It is very important for the democratic value to be upholded. Now that is the intent, and the intent is written in the preamble. So in order to understand any provision of the constitution, any law or legislation which is in making in today's world, in today's era, in the parliament, the intent of that particular piece of legislation or provision of law can be understood through preamble. It reflects the vision, aspiration and philosophy of the constitution. Yes, of course it does. Now coming to the second slide. What is the importance of having a preamble? So it is an interpretative tool. We have already seen this. If you are trying to interpret a legislation which you are making, for example, parliament is making some legislation and a little interpretation is required whether this legislation is proper or not, the guiding light is the preamble. They can always look towards the preamble in order to see whether whatever changes they are making are appropriate or not. Similarly, whenever judiciary is interpreting the constitution, because the interpretation is majorly done by judiciary, parliament is involved in law making process, but a little bit of interpretation here and there is also done by parliament, but majority interpretation is done by judiciary. Now in order to see whether, for example, let's take this article 21, right to life. So the interpretation also says that right to life with dignity. It is not just mere animal existence, but there has to be some sort of life in your life. No, life does not mean mere animal existence, and this is one of the interpretation of the judiciary. And this another interpretation may be that right to clean air or clean water is included in right to life and personal liberty under article 21. So all these interpretations, when the judiciary is doing those interpretations, preamble acts as a guiding light. I hope you have understood this point. It embodies fundamental values and guiding principles. Guiding principles simply means that we have to ensure justice, equality, liberty, fraternity needs to be promoted. It has fundamental values in it. It derived from the India's struggle for independence. India's struggle for independence had great impact on the constitution making process, which is also reflected in preamble. Now the key element of preamble is the nature of the state, as we have already seen: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. We will go into detail of all these concepts. Along with it, needs to ensure justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of opportunity and status, and need to promote fraternity. All these needs to be done. Now let us one by one understand what this concept actually means. So first one is sovereign. India is sovereign. That simply means India has the ability to take its own decision internally, externally, without the influence of any external power. That simply means, now India is a free country. We are not influenced by any other country while taking a decision. Whatever decision we take in our foreign policy, whatever decision we take internally, vis-a-vis any policy which the government is making, any decision which the executive is taking, it is not under pressure of any external force. That is what is meant by sovereignty, that the government is totally free and the will of the people is reflected in the decision making process of the parliament, in the decision making process of the government. I hope you understood the word sovereignty. There is no external control. Okay, the decision making is independent. No foreign authority can dictate laws in India. Yes, before independence it was Britain who was dictating lawmaking in India, but not after independence. India is an independent country and a sovereign country. So this is one of the special feature of the nature of the state which is written in the preamble. It ensures both internal and external sovereignty. Socialism. What socialist has been added by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Now, socialist does not mean the economic philosophy of socialism, but it means the welfare nature of the state. It strives to reduce the inequalities in the society. There must not be concentration of wealth. Also, there must not be kind of class which does not have proper standard of living. So this inequality which is there in the society needs to be reduced. So it is the commitment of the state towards the welfarist approach in decision making, in policy making, towards reduction in inequality. That is what is called socialism. It does not necessarily mean the economic philosophy of socialism which is near to communism and far away from capitalism. This word is not used in that sense. In India, if you see, private property and public property both are growing together. Okay, so socialism simply means a society which is a welfarist society, and at the same time inequality reduction programs, policies are the basis of governance in India. Added by 42nd Amendment, ensures social justice and reduction of economic inequalities and is a welfare state with fair wealth distribution. Now the next thing comes is secular. India is a secular country. This word was also added by the 42nd Amendment Act. Now what does secularism simply means? It means that state does not have any religion of its own. Now India is a secular country. India is not a Hindu nation or a Muslim nation or a Sikh nation. India is a secular country. It respects all the religion. It protects all the religion. It does not interfere into core values of any religion. Although when it comes to the peripheral issues such as succession, such as marriage, divorce, those are secular matters. State can interfere there. That is the reason why triple talaq has been struck down. That is the reason why a law to criminalize triple talaq has been introduced. In secular matters of religion, state can interfere, but in core values of religion, how somebody can practice his or her own religion, those things must not be changed or altered by the state. So state remains at a principal distance from religion, but state does not have its own religion. State does not have its identity attached to any religion. Now that is the definition of secularism in India, which is quite different from the secularism practiced in the West, where there is a total partition between state and religion. Here state in a way protects religion. Sometimes state also interferes in the religion, although in the secular matters. I hope you have understood. The state treats all religion equally. No official religion and no discrimination based on faith. If you see Article 15, Article 16, religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. So religion, there must not be any discrimination on the basis of religion. That has been mentioned in Article 15, Article 16. Many places you will see. Ensure religious freedom and harmony. Now next concept is democratic. It simply means the will of the people prevails in decision making of the government, in policy formation of the government, in legislative processes of the government, and when the government is chosen. The will of the people simply means there has to be an adult suffrage. Anybody who is above the age of 18 years and a citizen of India must have the right to go and vote and choose their own candidates, choose their own government, people who sit in the legislative assemblies, who sit in the parliament to make laws. So will of the people are prevailing. That is what is democracy. Okay, government of the people, by the people, for the people. That is an important concept to understand. Power belongs to the people through elected representatives. Universal adult suffrage ensures equal voting right. In a way, it also ensures social justice. Social justice. Government is accountable to the people. That is what is democratic means. Republic. We are a republican democracy. India is a republican democracy. It is not a monarchical democracy. That simply means the head of the state, does not matter whether the head of the state has real power or nominal power, but the head of the state is always an elected person. The person who is the head of the state sits there in that position for a time. There is a tenure, and then another person is elected. That person can be re-elected, but again, next person and next person and next person elected. One single person, one dynasty or one family does not hold the power, does not hold the position of the head of the state forever. That is what is republic, that the topmost authority of the country is the elected person. They does not come there through hereditary rights or through family rights or whatever be the case. India has an elected head of state, not a hereditary monarch. President is elected through an electoral process, remains there for 5 years, and then again election takes place. Ensures equality among citizens. All the citizens in the country have the right to fight. To fight for what? For the post of president, isn't it? For the post of president. You can also become president of India. Why not? The post does not belong to one family. The post does not belong to one dynasty. Anybody who is a citizen of India, whose name is there in the electoral roll, who is eligible to fight the election of Lok Sabha, can become the president of India. He just have to pass the age of 35 years. The minimum age requirement is 35 years. That simply means all the people are equal in this country. That's what is republic. Now coming to the next slide. So we have already seen the nature of the state. India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. Now we are coming to the ideals and aspiration which needs to be followed while taking any decision or making any policy in the country. First one is justice. Justice, social, economic, political justice. Okay, social justice, equal treatment without discrimination. So we have these grounds: religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. No one must be discriminated on these grounds. Untouchability under Article 17 is abolished. Untouchability is abolished, has been made a criminal offense in India. State must not give titles to anyone. Raj Pramukhs and any other sort of titles are prohibited by the state. Why? In order to maintain equality in the society, and that is the reason why we call social justice is maintained. Similarly, we have a concept of economic justice also, reduction in economic disparity. There must not be concentration of wealth. Inequality needs to be taken care of. The policies must be made in such a way that everybody benefits. There has to be an equal distribution of resources, equal distribution of wealth. Only few people should not benefit from the government policies, but the benefits must distribute equally among all the sections of the society. Now that is what is called economic justice. Political justice is equal protection in the political affairs of the country, in the political process, where a person can go and vote to elect his own government. Here it is a beautiful concept that one person equals to one vote. If there is an important person, let's say so-called VIP or a businessman, the value of vote of that particular businessman is equal to the value of vote of a common person. Okay, so the value of vote in India are equal. That's political justice. Somebody's vote does not contain more value. Okay. Now, liberty. What is liberty? Liberty is one of the bases of human life. If you do not have liberty, the life is not worth living. Liberty is one of the fundamental bases of human existence, and liberty needs to be ensured. Liberty in expression, thought, in belief, faith, worship. Whom are you worshipping? It's on you. What you want to express, it's on you. Of course, liberty is not absolute. There are reasonable restrictions imposed on liberty, that if you are expressing something, it should not create public disorder. Okay, there is always restriction. No right is absolute, but at the same time, there is liberty maintained in this society. Your rights must not hamper the rights of the other person. That is the reason why restrictions are there. Or else, liberty is a very, very important concept for human beings to grow to optimum level of development. Let's see what's written in the slide. Freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. You have the freedom to express whatever you want, to believe in whatever you want, to have faith on whichever God of your choice, or whichever practice, religious practice, economic practice, whatever you do, it's on you. You have the liberty to choose what you wear. You have the liberty to choose what you speak, how you live, what is your standard of living. Of course, that is one of the element which is decided by your economic worth also. But at the same time, you have liberty to choose any profession. You have the liberty to reside in this country and settle in this country wherever you want. You have the liberty to form unions. You have the liberty to go on road and protest against the government. Also, those kind of liberty has been given under Article 19 of the Constitution, protected by fundamental rights. If you see, this liberty is protected from Article 19 to 22. Different kind of liberties, different kind of freedoms have been protected and has been kept in part 3rd of the Constitution, which is fundamental right. They cannot be abridged, cannot be curtailed, subjected to reasonable restriction. Okay. Now coming to equality, there must not be any discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. That is equality. Very beautifully from Article 14 to Article 18 under the fundamental rights part 3rd of the Constitution, equality has been enshrined. It is reflected in Preamble also. Inequality, equal opportunity in employment and public life. In employment, Article 16 gives equal opportunity. There must not be any discrimination in public employment on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth, on the basis of descent, on the basis of all these disparities which can be there, all these the divides which can be there. There must not be any kind of there must not be any kind of discrimination by the state on these grounds. It's very important to understand the concept of equality. Now, this is also reflected in the Constitution. So, you can see whatever is there in the Preamble is somehow reflected in the Constitution also. If it is liberty, it is reflected from Article 19 to Article 22, which is under fundamental right. If it is equality, it is reflected from Article 14 to Article 18, which are again fundamental rights. So, it is a very important part for your prelims examination. Abolition of untouchability under Article 17, it has been criminalized. Equality is maintained when such laws are made in the society. Fraternity, it is always promoted. You cannot ensure fraternity. Fraternity simply means brotherhood. A feeling of oneness, unity and integrity is always there when fraternity is there. So, fraternity is a sense of brotherhood and unity among citizens. Guarantees dignity of individual. See, if there is fraternity, one part of the country respects the other part of the country, one race respects the other race, one religion respects the other religion, okay, one section of people respects the other section of people, not only people but also their culture, also the way of life they are living, or the way they conduct themselves. If everybody reflects that sense of respect for the other people, for the other section, for the other religion, then dignity of the individual will be ensured. It will be promoted. It promotes national unity and integration. It's a very important concept. So judicial interpretations of preamble has been done. First case was the Berubari Union case in 1960. If you see in Berubari Union case, it was said that preamble is not the part of the constitution, but this was overturned in Keshwananda Bharati case, where it was proposed that preamble is the part of the constitution. Now what difference does it make whether preamble is a part of the constitution or not? Simply means when the preamble is the part of the constitution, it can be used as an interpretative tool. It can be looked upon when some interpretation of the constitution has to be done, or when some laws, legislation or policy of the government is in making. Preamble can act as a guiding light. That is why preamble is the part of the constitution. That is why it has been kept as a part of the constitution, although it is not justiciable. You cannot go to the court and say that preamble is not being followed. No, it's not justiciable, but it is the part of the constitution. It is the integral part of the constitution. The content of the preamble, secularism, socialism, they are the integral part of the constitution. They are also the part of the basic structure of the constitution. Keshwananda Bharati case, basic structure doctrine also came up here. In SR Bomoi case, it was propounded that secularism is the fundamental feature. Now secularism is a word which is there in the preamble. It tells about the nature of the state, which is secular. That simply means secularism is the basic structure, and hence preamble is the basic structure of the constitution. The content of the preamble are basic structure of the constitution. Amendment, only one amendment has came till now, 42nd amendment, which has added 3 words: socialist, secular and integrity in the constitution. Earlier it was only unity. Unity and integrity was made after 1976 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. It strengthened the ideological commitment of the constitution. And the conclusion, the preamble reflects the soul of the constitution. Very good. Not directly enforceable. It is not directly enforceable, but crucial for interpretation. It acts as a guiding principle for governance and policy making. So this is the concept class for polity. This was the first concept class. We are going to have many concept class from now on for your upcoming prelims examination. Only some 97 days are left. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.
SRIRAM's IAS, serving the nation since 1985. Ab offline ho ya online, we are the lifeline.